Welcome back, once again, adventurers, to Let's Play Chaos Child. In the last episode, Takuru, Serika, and Shinji had made it to the sub-basement beneath the basement of the AH Tokyo General Hospital, a place that Takuru and Serika recognized before as the very place that they somehow managed to get into 6 years ago, of all things, when they were searching this all across Shibuya for urban legends and whatnot. Yeah, shortly after this revelation, Takuru witnessed a phenomenon, some weird apparition with the face of the infamous sumo stickers, but curiously dressed in the uniform and hairstyle of none other than Mio Sato. But speaking of Mio Sato, the real one, not the imposter apparition, also managed to infiltrate the facility in order to find some investigative information for Momose back at Future Investigations and to uncover whatever wrongdoings are still unfolding since 2009. Luckily for Takuru, said apparition was only that, a delusionary apparition. Although, two questions. Why did it have the appearance of Mio Sato? And probably more importantly, why was Takuru the only one who experienced said phenomenon? Um, Wonder if we'll be able to answer those questions. But regardless, the apparition's gone, and everyone is together in the security terminal where Mio has been using her amazing technical prowess to try and hack the network, which she has actually managed to do so, and found quite a few files on the inhuman experiments being conducted here, all for the sake of giving people supernatural powers, it seems. Which ties into the victims. That explains why Shinjo and Kunosato were talking about psychics. And that was the commonality that I'd suspected was lurking behind the murders.
Oi.
Kunosato caught me looking and threatened me in a low voice. Yeah, for some reason she's completely, irritated by both Takuru and Shinji. But for some reason, there's another new mystery on our hands. For some reason, Mio seems incredibly deferring to Serika Inoue of all people. First of all, why does that name interest her? And why does she have the respect for her that she doesn't show to anyone else? Besides, but I didn't have time to worry about that.
これ本当なんですか？こんな SF みたいなことが本当に。
Indeed, it is very much like science fiction. She looked unhappy but gave in.
実験自体は随分と前から行われていたようだ。というよりも、この病院自体がその実験のカモフラージュのために建てられたと考えてもいい。
Very, very in the vein of the Umbrella Corporation of Resident Evil.
この病院が？
Except that it wasn't the Umbrella Corporation conducting these particular experiments. It was an entirely different organization that I believed had shut down 6 years ago.
ああ、
Maybe, just maybe,
それであの今は
I think it's safe to say it is.
はあ、
今は行われてるんですか、その実験。
Hmm. I think the fact that there are patients here, yeah, there are patients, by the way, some of which are confined in cages, and the other ones that are still allowed to wander of their own free will, apparently. If that were true, was she still here?
いや、ある出来事をきっかけに中止されたらしい。
Hmm. A certain event. Yeah, I know what it is.
中止されたのはちょうど6年前。2009年11月6日。
Yeah, when the earthquake took place.
それって
Hmm.
渋谷地震の日。
Very much so. Someone is continuing those experiments.
地震のせいで研究どころじゃなくなったのか。
Hmm. There's a bit more to that story than meets the eye, Shinji.
いいや違うな。この病院は震源域の外だ。被害は全く受けていない。
No physical damage, at
じゃあ
least.
どうして。
だからそれを探って。
Yeah, she's still mad at the fact that she's being badgered with so many questions. And we are kind of on an infiltration mission, which means we need to be extremely quiet or somebody might hear us. Kunosato stopped short and clicked her tongue. He must have decided she'd told us too much.
いいからおとなしくしていろ。
We're gonna find out one way or another. She pushed me away from the screen lightly. It looked like she didn't want me to read anymore.
これは。
Well, the only thing I have left to say, Mio, is whatever else you plan on doing here, you better do it soon, and hopefully we can get the hell out of... Oh wait, we can't. Yeah. Once Mio has done her business, she's gonna try and up and leave, but we can't exactly leave because Takuru still needs to find his phone, which is still down here, in the possession of the mysterious schoolgirl with all those possibly scientists with her. Yeah, they're down here too. As if that things weren't bad enough. Kunosato's hand froze on the mouse. She was staring intently at the screen. And then she started to talk to herself.
11番目のロールシャッハが脳に与える影響。11番目。
The 11th Rorschach test. What's so important about that? She just knocked me away so that I couldn't see the screen, but I couldn't help but lean forward. Her voice was just that strange.
どうしたんですか。
ロールシャッハテストには10種類の絵しか存在しない。11番目なんて聞いたことも。だから黙ってろお前。
Yeah, she's still angry. Kunosato turned around and glared at me. When she did, I caught a glimpse of the monitor. Looks like your distraction plan there worked, Takuru. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The screen was filled with thumbnails of the different Rorschach tests. And yeah, they're all very different, all very unique and symmetrical. And Kunosato was just about to click on this mysterious 11th Rorschach. Well, she probably would have if we didn't intervene. Or maybe she... Oh, never mind then. Kunosato clicked to open the file. When she did... that is very peculiar. Also, this one is labeled confidential. Of course, if it wasn't for a certain something, yeah, this would just be as obscure as the rest, but, yeah, this looks all too, like, familiar, like a certain something that we've seen countless times. What appeared on the screen was...
力士シール
what appears to be the sumo sticker. Oh dear. And just from looking at that, Takuru, is going into shock. What was going on? I felt sick. I couldn't stand. I collapsed to the floor. It felt like something was crawling up from the bottom of my intestines. That something was... bugs. Really? Tiny slimy bugs with lots of little feet were crawling up from my stomach into my throat, scattering disgusting fluids behind them as they moved. A disgusting crawling sensation passed through my throat and out into my mouth. What the hell were these things? Stop it. Help me. I feel sick. Help me. Something truly bizarre is happening here. Get out of my body.
タク
What? Why is Serika talking like that?
タクしっかりしてよタクってば
Yeah, probably because Serika isn't experiencing what we're going through. Though I'd expected to be a bit more worried. But that definitely wasn't natural. Or normal. Huh? Did I fall asleep? No, that wasn't it. I looked at the screen and gotten sick. And then passed out? Where was I? My head felt awfully cold.
なんだか気持ちがいいね
I could hear Serika's voice, but I couldn't see her. Where was I? My vision
ほ
is
ら
dark.
見て見てしんちゃんったらあんな格好になってる
Yeah, something is happening. Ito was here?
私とタクもお揃いだね。
What do you mean, matching? What was she talking about? When I looked to the side and saw it, my head cleared instantly. Serica was next to me, lying in the same kind of seat I'd seen the girl in the vision sitting in. What was strange was her head. There was something on top of it, slimy and pink. No, that wasn't it. Oh no. That was... Oh god. That was her brain. The top of Serica's skull was completely gone, with several electrodes sticking out of what remained. I suddenly heard a high-pitched voice from the other side. It sounds like Ito. It took some time before I realized that the voice belonged to Ito, but it didn't for me. That's how insane it sounded. I couldn't tell if Ito was screaming in pain or pleasure. His brain was exposed, and part of it seemed to be missing.
気持ちいいね、タク。
I tried to move, but was held down tight and couldn't budge.
動くな。
I heard a cold voice from above my head. The voice was...
今すぐお前もあいつのようにしてやる。だからじっとしているがいい。
Something cold touched my head. At least that's how it felt. It felt good, which is not how it should feel. Like my brain was going to melt. And soon oh dear. Things are just getting worse. Much worse. I wasn't sure where I ended and the rest of the world began. Yeah, unfortunately that was another delusion. One caused by the mysterious 11th Rorschach. Doesn't seem like any of the others have noticed. Huh? Where was I? Back in the present. I was back in the basement.
タク、大丈夫？
あ、大丈夫だ。
起きられるか？ほら。
Ito slowly helped me to my feet.
軽い。 僕どうしたんだ。
画面にね、例の怖いシールがいきなりアップになったからびっくりしたんだよ。それで転んでタクは頭を打っちゃって。
そうか。
I rubbed the back of my head, and sure enough, there was a big bump. Kunosato was staring at me from in front of the screen. Is it an expression of concern or contempt? My money's on the latter. I thought she was going to complain again, but instead she pulled me up to look at the screen.
確かめてもらいたいことができた。来い。
Still grilling us for information.
あのシールなら許してください。なんか気分が優れなくて。
いや、あれじゃない。いいから来い。
見るなって言ったり見ろって言ったり。
Contrarian, isn't she?
なんだ。
わかりましたよ。
Since it was clear that she wasn't going to take no for an answer, I stood next to her. What is it she's found?
お前に確認してほしいのはこのファイルだ。
What file? Or more importantly, whose file? Kunosato tapped on the report on the Kunosato tapped the report on the screen with her nails.
11番目のロールシャッハ。さっきの画像に何らかの効果があるとみなされて、初めて実験に使用されたのが2007年とある。
2007 was 2 years before the Shibuya earthquake and the New Generation madness. What is going on here? It was right about the time that people started to see the sumo stickers, if I've remembered right. And that was the same year we'd snuck in here to find the truth about the urban legend of Amy. Wait, that was 2007? Not 2009? I'm kind of being thrown for a loop here. Again. I took the mouse and read the next part.
自称変異を起こす素養を持つ存在のみが人の顔を模したように見える11番目の画像に対し、通常の人間とは異なる反応を示す。そのことが判明した。
Event variations.
この症状が最初に観測されたのは、被験体番号第79号、南沢千里からであり、
Well, there's another twist for us adventurers. We've heard that name before. Senri Minamisawa. That was Nono Kurisu's childhood friend, other than Takuru, that is. Yeah. And then I stopped scrolling down the screen. That name should be familiar to you, Takuru. There was a picture of a girl there.
どうだ、その子に見覚えがあるか。
In a manner of speaking, yes.
タク、この子。
But wait.
あ、
Remember her. That was the girl. That was the girl we'd seen that day. Oh god. How are we going to face Kurusu after this? Knowing this, we can't, is the answer to that question. That was the girl who'd seen us and begged for help. Yeah. I don't think she died in the earthquake anymore. But, wait. Huh, yeah. This is from 2007. Just so many timelines. Kunosato looked at me. Well, this girl's name definitely isn't Amy. Not anymore. Or, no.
さっき話していたこの施設にいたかもしれない友達というのはこの子なんだな。
Yeah. And, yeah.
はい。
I wasn't sure how to answer, but I decided to keep up the lie that she was my friend. Oh, she may not have been your friend, Takuru, but she was certainly Kurusu's friend. The truth was, I'd only just now learned that her name was Senri Minamisawa.
そうか。
Kunosato looked very sad. I didn't even know she was even capable of looking that way. She stared at the picture of Senri Minamisawa on the screen.
私はお前のことを嫌いだが、ここで苦しんでいた友達をずっと忘れないでいることには敬意を払ってもいい。
Well, given the fact that she's really Kurusu's acquaintance. But maybe there might be a silver lining to all this. If we can save Senri after all these years, maybe, just maybe, we can help heal the wounds of Kurusu's heart as well.
Huh?
Her eyes grew just a little softer. Yeah, strange as it might seem, Takuru, Mio Kunosato is a human being after all. She is capable of empathy. But I felt a cold sweat as I looked at them.
違う。
It wasn't out of friendship that I'd never been able to forget the girl named Senri Minamisawa. It was because she was in my nightmare. But I couldn't say that. All I could do was try to make it hard to tell what I was really thinking. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe, well, it's going to be a bad idea to tell Kurusu, but it might be a good idea, but then it might not. I'm actually rather torn here, adventurers.
本当は救いたかったのに、それができなかった。でも、それは仕方のないことだ。気に病むことはない。
If only we could have saved her.
違うんだ。
I've been too afraid to save her, and I had abandoned her.
今、彼女はどうしているんだろう。
Kunosato didn't realize what I was thinking, though. She called up more data on the girl called Senri Minamisawa.
彼女は11番目の画像で特殊な兆候を見せた被験者としてかなり強引な実験を受けていたようだ。でも 死ぬことなく生き延びた。
She survived. Forceful experiments? The kind that could kill you. When I heard that, I almost threw up. I did my best to keep Kunosato from finding out.
だが、渋谷地震の時に運悪く震源域に居合わせて、それ以降は行方不明ということになっているな。
So she was caught in the earthquake. After all.
行方不明？
いや、正確には、この実験施設が地震の直後に機能を終えてしまったため、彼女に関するデータが存在しないというのが正しい。ただ、地震の犠牲になった可能性は高いな。
Maybe. But then that begs the question of what exactly happened to this place after the quake.
そう
Ruined everything.
ですか。
It was horrible, but I felt a little less like throwing up. At least she hadn't died because of the experiments, or because we'd abandoned her. Hearing that made me feel like I'd been forgiven a little. A violent sense of self-hatred overcame me again.
ごめん。南沢、千里さん。
She'd been practically tortured here as part of those experiments, and then been caught in the earthquake. But And then I felt something tugging at the edge of my memories.
南沢さん？
Yeah, that name ought to be familiar to you, Takuru. Hadn't I heard that name somewhere before? You have indeed. From the aforementioned person that I mentioned before. But then where? From who?
あれでも、
Before I could think about it any further, Ito spoke up hesitantly.
なんだ？
この実験施設、機能を終えたっておかしいですよ。その割にあちこちに人がいましたよね。それに小さな女の子も。
Yeah, that's right. That is right, Shinji. There are still people in this place. Although I probably wouldn't have mentioned the little girl that came down here.
そうだよね。
Yeah, there are too many factors that don't add
俺た
up.
ちその女の子を追ってここへ来たんです。ここが廃棄された施設って言うなら、あの子一体何を？
That is actually a very good question.
ああ、そのことか。
Kunosato closed down the file on Senri Minamisawa, and her face took on its usual cool, emotionless expression.
ここは今、実験中にトラブルのあった被験者たちの保護施設として使われている。
実験中にトラブルのあった被験者？
実験に失敗して脳に損傷を負ったり、正気を失った感情、程度によって軟禁、もしくは監禁しておくための地下収容所ということだ。
A cold chill ran through my body. Yeah, you didn't have to dredge up that memory again, Takuru.
まさかそんなことって。
But yes, the people down here, most of them are all that's left of those cruel and unusual experiments. But then that begs the question, once again, of the identity of that girl.
ありえねえ。
ひどい。
But then again, how does that explain the others, the victims of the current new generation madness?
目的のためならどんなことでもやる連中がいる。お前たちが相手にしているのはそういう連中なんだ。だから最初に警告してやったろ。
Yeah, these people do not play nice and they do not play fair. But your warning, as helpful as it was also rather moot, because we've been involved from this from the very start as well. Kunosada opened another file.
これで見る限り現在でも20名近くの人間がここにいるようだな。
20. She scrolled down the page and a new picture appeared.
待ってください。その子。
Yeah, it is. It is her. This is the girl we've been following. Her name is, Yamazoe Yuki. Or Uki, sorry. Or is it Uki? Yeah, is it? Yeah, Japanese, I'm gonna
間
go,
違いないよ、タク。名前は山添うきちゃん。
okay, it is, Uki Yamazoe. That was, yeah, minorly confused there. But, yeah, we finally know our, other mystery girl. And, reading everything else, confidential, words scribbled in here, rank A, and, a brain cast, x-ray things. Arcart General, yeah, I knew stood for Arcart. General Hospital, ID number, blah 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 blah. Attending Doctor Narose. That is a name I've heard before. That name, Narose. I'm surprised to see that name here, and yet I shouldn't be surprised to see this name here. That is a terrible name. An awful, awful, awful name under these contexts.
この子ももともと実験に使われた被験者だったようだな。
As she was, but she appears to be functioning. But that could also explain the elderly woman that was always following her around. The shattering revelation was presented to us as a mere matter of fact, as if it were the most ordinary thing imaginable. Under the circumstances, it probably is. Sarika covered her mouth with her hand and her eyes went wide. Then she had suffered the same fate as Senri Minamisawa. Oh yes. She too would have been strapped to this apparatus and experimented on.
幸い彼女は最後まで正気を失うことなく実験に耐え生き残った。今はこのフロアで収容者たちの世話をする仕事を与えられているらしい。
収容者たちの世話。
I thought she was a criminal who'd stolen my smartphone and threatened me. To be fair, she didn't steal it so much as you dropping it, but there was that, event that happened as well. But could that have been a delusion also? And once more, I thought that she was either connected with the killer or that maybe she was the killer herself. But now I wasn't sure.
いや、ダメだ。見かけや生い立ちに騙されちゃダメだ。
And yet, things are once again not as they seemed.
あの状況だと僕のスマホを拾えたのは彼女だけなんだ。それにここでの実験の被験者ということは何らかのその能力者の可能性だってある。
That she does.
解約したはずのスマホから電話してくるなんてゲート、そういう能力でもない限り不可能じゃないか。
Perhaps so. As my mind raced, Kunisada was checking out every bit of data on the machine. But
実験の結果、ディソードの発現は全被験者の 0.01% に満たず失敗と断定。別の技術を模索すべきと結論。
well, that's interesting. The results of the experiments showed that only 0.01% of subjects were able to manifest a D-sword. Yeah, this is the first time that you've brought this up, yet, you don't seem all that surprised about that phrase, Miyoko no Sato.
やっぱりか。バカな科学者どもが。
Kunosato sounded uncharacteristically ticked off as she closed all the folders and turned off the PC. Might want to explain what that, D-sword is there. I mean, I could, but why should I be the one to spoil the surprises?
ディソード。
That strange word snapped me out of my reverie. It seems that what she was looking for. I looked at her, hoping for some kind of answer, but she just glared back at me with terrifying eyes.
そろそろ時間的に限界だ。出るぞ。
え？
これ以上ここにいれば発見される。
They will, but
で
we,
でも僕たちの目的がまだ。
お前たちは計画がずさんすぎる。この施設内の構造すら知らないのだろう。
well, it was a plan. She was right. I'd snuck in here as a child, but that was all. I didn't remember the details.
そんなことでは探したところで無駄だ。
She was right, damn it. But there must be some way. I looked around the room and saw the rows of monitors. If they were on, They could at least tell us what was going on around the facility. That is true. Maybe they could tell us where Uki Yamazoe was?
どうした宮代。
このモニターの電源がないか探してるんだよ。こいつが使えれば、あるいは。
無駄だ。そもそもその監視システム自体動いているのかも。
That is true. Suddenly the room was bathed in pale light. Okay. Yeah, that is unnatural. But this is also where I'm going to cut this episode of Let's Play Chaos Child off. So when we return, adventurers, we shall, yeah. I think we have some pressing matters to deal with right about now. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.